Okay, let me start off by saying this is insane, and I can't believe no one has covered it, and I can't believe I'm the one covering it. So, Peace Island is a game that's been in the works for 8 years, if you don't know. It started with this Kickstarter, uh, and it had the funding goal of 7K, and it nearly doubled that funding goal with 13K. So, not quite double, but nearly there. And it also has a Patreon that's getting nearly $4,500 a month. So, great for Peace Island. And this game has been on constant delays. Okay? And it's not new. You know, they kept pushing it back and pushing it back. But that's to be expected. After all, it's a very small dev team. If I have seen correctly, it's 2 people working on this game. So delays are to be expected, as long as the end product is good. And from as far as I can tell, the dev has been in communication with their Patreons and their Kickstarter people. I mean, dev has been doing good. Until Peace Island releases. And when it does, it's in early access, and it costs a whopping $20. But okay. Right? They need more time, and they want people to try it out, but they also want some income. Whatever. Sure, I buy that. Except for the fact that when this game came out, it was yet again delayed. Let's look here really quick. We were suddenly locked out of our Steamworks account as of this morning. We believe we were hacked. For the past 2 years, we have signed on via the same Steam account for the Peace Island project. Now, it refuses to let us sign in or ever request entry. We cannot even request a password reset. Someone is fucking with us. Again, this game has been on constant delays, and when the dev, who in question is Eric Blumrich, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, is once again delaying it, it sounds a bit sketchy. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. As we can see here, tons of people thought so as well. Here we go again. I think you are fucking with us. But today, this post about delay looks weird. I feel a bit betrayed. But I backed your Kickstarter when this first began, and saw this on my feed, and you've milked this project as much as you can. People aren't happy. And that's to be understandable. I mean, they were so unhappy that, in fact, this post got deleted. Which, again, is not a good look. Right? So, this game is coming out. Ariana wishy-washy stance. People aren't sure if they can really trust the dev anymore. Especially with all the constant delays, and it feels like they're just excuses upon excuses. But the game does eventually come out, right? It gets pushed to Steam in early access. And let's look at these reviews. Pretty bad reception. In fact, it was just yesterday, I believe, from making this video, that this was actually at mostly negative on Steam, is now on mixed on overall reviews, which is great. Good. That's not mostly negative anymore. But we can see that the main problem that people had, at least on first glance, is the amount of bugs. Remember, you've waited 8 years. People have waited 8 years for this game, and they're paying $20 for it, and it's riddled with bugs. Let's look at this right here. This is a pretty all-encompassing review of what people are saying. Constantly floating in the air, flying, things wouldn't pick up properly, character getting stuck on objects and phasing into walls. It's unpolished, slow, clunky. People aren't too pleased. But all that can be mitigated because the dev wants feedback, at least according to him. He wanted feedback and said that he would work on the game and continue working on it, and that's good. However, what really escalated this entire situation is the mention of undisclosed AI usage. So the Steam page didn't disclose that there was AI in the game. And we can see some of those AI images in this post here. Now, this post is on archive.today, and that's because this post got deleted. And not by the OP, no, by the dev. The dev got rid of this post. So let's actually look at what is in this thread. AI images in Peace Island. So let's look at the first image, which is of this cat with kibble next to it. So this image is very clearly AI, and we can point out how it's AI and how we can tell. The first very obvious sign is this bowl. AI has immense trouble with making patterns. They tend to have no rhyme or reason to them. They tend to abruptly end or new patterns start. It's very all over the place, and we can see that in this bowl. Like this blank spot that does not repeat. This line just does not look right. It's all smudged. There's blue here that shouldn't be there. This bowl is not right, pattern-wise. And then we can also look at the kibble. If you don't have cats, then you probably don't know that kibble normally is very uniform. I have cats myself. And when you get the kibble, as long as it's not like those like little frisky stars, hopefully I'll put up an image so you know what I'm talking about. They tend to all be the same shape and roughly the same size. As we can see with, the kibble here and the kibble on the ground, it's very non-uniform. It's all very different and way out of place. It doesn't look right. And we can also see with the cat right here, the eye, the lighting doesn't look right. It doesn't look natural. Something's very uncanny to it. So this image is very clearly AI. And then we can look at the next image, which by the dev's own admission is made up of people from the website These People Do Not Exist, which is, if you don't know, AI generated pictures of people. And obviously they don't exist, but they are AI. And we can even look at here at this woman who is also AI. They showed this picture of a library that they suspect is AI. It is not. Let's be very clear. It is not AI. What was misinterpreted was that if you look here at this librarian, I can't zoom in because I'm inept, but the fingers seem to disappear. But that is simply because of the motion blur. In fact, we can see the motion blur happening here. There's obviously effects going on. There's nothing about the library image that screams AI. So I believe that was just a misinterpretation, which is fine. Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes it's very difficult to know what's AI and what's not. Especially with that image of a cat that we just saw. It's kind of confusing. So no problem there. They got one image wrong. And then we see here with the final image of the AI woman again and what looks to be, just weird. It's definitely AI, right? And according to the dev, I believe he said that these were touched up, quote unquote, with AI. But we'll get into that later. So this post ends with, if these images are AI, how much of the text and audio is AI? Which is a valid concern, right? And we're going to get into how the dev interpreted this in just a minute, because the dev did make a response. They did a live stream, and they did make a response to this. So we'll get into how the dev saw this. But let's first go into how the dev reacted to this post in the comments. And hopefully, right, we would hope that the dev would be very professional about this, clarify that the librarian image was not AI, and then say, hey, we will make sure to take all the AI images out, etc., right? And that's what we're hoping for. So let's read it together. 1. Cat picture was taken from a website offering royalty-free imagery in 2022. If you are not someone who works in visual media, you might not be aware that between 2022 and 2024, there was a scandal wherein such sites were offering imagery without a guarantee that it was human-made. If this is the case, we will remove this image. 2. Yes, we cannot afford to license the headshots of 12 men for a singular image. For this one screenshot, We used images from this person does not exist. If you want your picture in there, contact us. 3. This is a 100% real photograph of a library. Unless a stock image site was lying, you might want to take that up with them. 4. I guess you are new to the project and are not aware. We have been 100% open about using AI to clean up photographs of contributors. We have posted about this here on Reddit, our Patreon, our Kickstarter, our Facebook, our Instagram, and spoken about this openly on our Discord. Now, let me finish with this. I wish you great journeys in your sifting through the literally thousands of images that are in Peace Island. I am certain you will find a certain thrill run down your back when an image triggers a result on whatever I think they meant free, AI detector you can gain access to. There's nothing in your post here that is a surprise to us, nor to anyone who supports the game. Can we suggest, perhaps, getting a hobby? We hear stamp collecting is getting hotter. If you need any help with that, give us a call at phone number, and we can refer you to a local post office. Now let's dissect this before we continue on this thread. So points 1 and 2 are professional, I would say. At least I would classify them as mostly professional. You know, I don't see any problem with that. 3 gets a bit it gets a bit iffy, simply because of the last line. You might want to take that up with them. It's not your player base's job to verify these images. It is you as the dev to verify your images and verify the integrity of them. That is your job, right? And, you know, seeing that there could be an AI image, you know, possibly is very frustrating, especially if you're going out of your way not to use AI. However, clearly they are using some AI, and they were open about it, but the problem is that Eric Blumrich, the problem is that you weren't transparent about it on Steam. You know, they're quote unquote, you have already said, we have posted about this here on Reddit, our Patreon, our Kickstarter, our Facebook, our Instagram, and spoken about this openly on Discord. Okay, sure. Let's say you have. All right? Let's say you absolutely have. The problem is that you did not disclose this on Steam. Steam, you must disclose your use of AI. It is on their policy. You must do this. And that is why you have gotten people upset, right? Like, we can take out all the bugs, we can take out people's suspicion with the delays. We can take out all of that, and we can just focus on this AI thing. People are upset because you did not openly disclose it on Steam. Now, you're being defensive here. At least that is how I have interpreted it, and how we will see most people have interpreted this as very defensive and aggressive, right? This could have very easily been professional, saying, hey, thank you for bringing up the AI. We assure you that we did not use AI anywhere else. All voices were manually done by humans, etc., etc. You could have absolutely said that, and this would have been neatly wrapped up. But unfortunately, you didn't. And that's the problem. So we can see someone's response to this. This was almost a healthy response to a legitimate concern, but then you just have the insulting. It doesn't give a good look. So then we can see what the OP said regarding to this. And here is their take. 1. Regardless of my job, I am aware that royalty-free image sites use AI at one point. Your job, since you use the images, should be to vet them. Here is the one thing I noticed that made me think it may be AI. All food I buy for my cat is uniform in shape. You can see many different shapes of kibble have fallen out of the bowl. It's likely AI. 2. This is just you admitting you used an AI generator for at least 12 images, but didn't disclose this on Steam. 3. The legs on the person in the foreground don't really line up, and you can see through the left leg. This was the same issue as number 1, not my job to vet the images. 4. Where is the line between touching up with AI and just generating an image? A random user isn't going to know it's a touch-up, so it just looks like AI. I regret now even giving my feedback on this game. I didn't even refund, and I'm not planning on it. Someone told me to join the Discord to give feedback, and your response is exactly why I won't be doing that. You had a really long post earlier saying if we had issues, give feedback so you can help fix the game. Okay, let me start that. You had a really long post earlier saying if we have issues, give feedback so you can fix the game. Now it seems like you just want feedback so you can be rude to people that post it. Again, very valid concern, especially since what looks to be a dev's crash out. I mean, that's how it looks. So we can see the dev's final response to this, which is unfortunately very aggressive again. I seem to have injured your feelings. So sorry. As you know, okay. I seem to have injured your feelings. So sorry. As you now know, there is no reward in being a self-appointed AI detector in this quarter. Please contact us for a refund of your money at info@peaceislandgame.com. Again, very unprofessional and not how you're supposed to react to someone concerned about AI. So we can see from the comments here, fuck you in your game. You're very clearly mentally unstable, not buying this game from this kind of response. It pushes players away. That's all it does. And, it's not a good response at all. It's just not a good response. So let's move on, right? Okay, the developer had a bit of a mental breakdown, right? But how is the dev on Discord, right? Because they want feedback, and surely they got some feedback on Discord. Well, we can actually look on how the dev was on Discord. So let's look at this feedback from Blake, right? So, hey, I want to give my 2 cents if it's okay, since I do actually care to see this game flourish at some point. I was one of the people that refunded it. I love that you're taking accountability and being open and transparent about it all. I was definitely put off by this, as I, too, don't support anything Gen AI. I don't think using Gen AI in small amounts makes your game AI slop, but I prefer to stay clear of products using AI for personal reasons. That being said, once everything AI related is replaced, I'd love to be on board with the game again. I understand that developing a game is hard and placeholders can be helpful, along with a lot of other benefits a creator might gain. What bothered me personally was a missing disclosure on the store page. Now, I refunded for a lot more than that. I never followed the development of the game, read any of your socials, or was even part of the Discord, so I knew nothing about it going in. I didn't realize that the game I would be buying would be buggy and unpolished as it is. I, as a consumer, just wanted a more polished game, which, once it will be more polished, I'll very likely rebuy. And maybe not relevant to the game itself, but I felt a bit put off by the combative nature of the responses given by you. While none of them were addressed to me, as a bystander just watching the conversation unfold, I felt that, quote-unquote, we hurt your feelings was a highly unprofessional thing to say. Though I understand emotions can run high, and in the end, it's your project. I'm not saying this to create drama or blame, just a reflection of how certain things can come across to people who have absolutely zero prior engagement with your product. I hope this helps in terms of feedback. Like I said, I just want to see the game succeed. And Eric Blumrich, who, again, is the dev, said totally fair, and let me tell you, if we had released it with the previous controller, it would have been even worse. We're releasing a new version on PC right now. Looking forward to seeing improvements. So this is a healthy interaction. I think we can all agree. However, what turns unhealthy and was deleted, as we can see, original message was deleted, are these messages from Flannel. Now, Flannel is coming in and providing some criticism after also seeing the AI images debacle on Reddit that we just read unfold. So let's read it together. I guess I didn't see in the last post where they claimed to be owning you or calling the game AI slop. Also, you were incorrect in your defense of some of the images and then just deleted the post to replace with your own. Why? I've played the game and the AI is honestly the least of my worries. It doesn't really feel good to play or fun. In under an hour, I saw about 10 possible defects and it doesn't make me feel good about the future of the game when you lose your password to Patreon, Steam, etc. Every day I submitted bug reports to the info@peaceislandgame.com email, so hopefully those reach you. So after that, we see was essentially a deterioration from the dev here, where they become very aggressive and very defensive. So I won't read the entire thing. I will leave this this down in the description if you want to read the entire thing. But I will go over some of the main points that are pretty important to look at. So let's see from the dev's response to just this, right? We can read off these numbers. 1. The image of the cat was taken from Pexels, we assume that the cat image was genuine. 2, we have repeatedly mentioned that we were using AI to clean up less than 20 images of the contributors. It is not our fault he never read that. 3, if you go back far enough in this very Discord discussion, you will see where I literally discuss the use of this person does not exist images. This has been known. 4, their claim that the library image on the university website is AI. Don't know what to say, got it from Pexels. Further, they did not stop their complaint at the imagery. They went on to assume, incorrectly, that the writing, etc. was AI as well. And yeah, if you do not like the game, get a refund. So I want to go into the dev's mindset here, because it's interesting. So the dev has interpreted the AI post that we just saw, that we just read. In fact, we can go back to it right now. And if these images are AI, how much of the text and audio is AI? It seems as though they have interpreted that as almost a threat, I want to say, with lack of a better word. It seems as though it's diminishing their work, is how they've interpreted it, instead of a concern. As it seems as though the dev is interpreted as hostile, which, while I can understand, can be annoying and almost hurtful, for a game that you worked on for 8 years. It's not what the OP of this post meant at all. It's absolutely not what they meant. They were sharing their concern, and they did not call your game AI slop. They did not go, insulting your game. That's not what the point of the post was about. And I feel like that's a great misinterpretation that the dev is having here. So we can go back to the screenshots again, and we can see, where if you go, but you will see literally discussed. Yeah, we can see point 3. And again, it seems as though the dev is not understanding that what the main concern was about was that this was not disclosed on Steam. We can look at Blade's response again, where Blade literally says, let's look at it. I never followed the development of the game, read any of your socials, or was even part of the Discord. So that there's people who haven't looked at any of this and are now seeing your game just by itself on Steam. And that's how they're going to take it. Which is why it's so important that you follow Steam's policy and label your game as having AI. It's why people are really upset, beyond the fact that AI is even present to begin with. But let's go back to the screenshots again, because I keep going back and forth. Alright. So again, I'm not going to read all of this. Please feel free to pause and read them as you like. It would just take so long, and I don't think anyone has the time for that. I would have read these out, but it's just, we also have the developer's response to go over. So Flannel was like, no, I don't like refunding any games I buy. So it's not something Flannel likes to do, even if they don't like it. So Flannel's here to provide feedback, which is great. That's what the dev wants. But unfortunately, the dev is just very combative. We can see here, what is your point? Make it quick, because I've heard it a dozen times before. Man, come on, Dickens, your point. Hello, I see you're afraid to say it out loud. And this was literally between 2 minutes. We can tell from the timestamps. Right here, Eric Blumrich, 139, and then Flannel responds at 141. This is 2 minutes. And the dev is just not giving time for a response. And, Blade comes back in. This is the combative, unprofessional nature I was referring to, by the way. Like, it's just ongoing. And the dev does not know when to stop. And they go on with a story that's related to the plot, I'm assuming, of Peace Island. This is where I will also say I have not played Peace Island, if you cannot tell. I would love to play Peace Island. Unfortunately, with just how this entire situation is going, and from what I could tell the state of the game, it's just not in the place for me to be spending $20 on it. But we can also see the reaction to this entire thing, because Flannel ends up getting banned, even though they weren't combative whatsoever. Again, feel free to pause and read it. They were not combative whatsoever. And, Lily Paddle, who is part of the Discord and is a lurker, is saying that they're disappointed by the treatment, and, someone else is at a loss for words. It's just very upsetting to people. And We also have right here, you see this Reddit link. This is referring to this post in specific. So I, again, will not read this all out, but I will give you the general overview. And again, this will all be linked in the description if you want to read all of this. We can see where the developer is once again becoming defensive, and I believe the developer is meshing everyone into the same group. And the reason I say this is if we go down to this coding section right here, is that we can see right here this. I want to read this out. Someone with absolutely no idea what they were talking about walked into the room, made a false blanket accusation that did nothing more than show their own ignorance. I believe the developer is meshing everyone into the same exact group. They are thinking that everyone is just ignorant. No one understands, right? In fact, I can go back to the screenshots where they're like, "Oh, you've never made something that you can be proud of. I am sorry that you have never created something that means so much to you." It's very looping everyone together, right? You're just making everyone in the same group, same uninformed, mean, hostile, troll-like group. And that's just not where this criticism is coming from. Let's go back to the post again. So, we have never tried to deny the uses and possible accidental uses we have listed above. They have again been mentioned repeatedly via our Patreon or our social media. Again, the dev is just not understanding why people are mad. And I don't think I need to, repeat it over and over like a broken record. I think if you're watching this to this point, you also understand what people are mad about, right? It's just that the dev does not. The dev sees everyone as an enemy. At least that's how I'm viewing it, is that the dev just does not see anyone as on his side, right? And everyone does not understand the work that's been put into this game, that they've already been transparent about the game. The problem is that they just have not been transparent enough. So, that would normally be the end of it, right? The dev goes on a major freak out, all of that fun stuff. However, the dev also makes a response video. A special stream just for our Reddit fans. Now, there was also a stream like this yesterday, as from the Making With You, but that video got taken down by the dev. It was deleted. But we can go ahead and we can see what the dev has to say. Let me just play this.
This individual walked in to the, posted this thing, putting the pictures up there, and they said their introduction to all of us was, I found these images. I guess everything in AI and Peace Island is AI slop. Or no, they asked how much of Peace Island is AI slop.
Okay, that was one of the clips from this stream, and again, it shows a fundamental non-understanding of why people are upset, right? And I don't know what to say to that. I think it's honestly quite disappointing.
I did not realize that I was being, deliberately trolled by these people. Because it seemed every time I responded, they would just, dig themselves in deeper and deeper and deeper. And here's my problem. And one of the really weird things about that conversation, well, yeah, these guys, because of the stress of the war starting, and because of all the, the stuff that comes with a video game release, I was starting to lose a little bit of my demeanor, a little bit of my calm demeanor. Now, here's the thing. I didn't know how the public perceives things. You see, it seemed that every time, how the modern, internet perceives things. Because every time these people would say something absolutely stupid or confrontational, and I would respond point by point and go, you're incorrect. This is why. If you have any other issues, I'd be glad to hear. And they would be going, oh my gosh, this guy's he's having a meltdown. He's going crazy. Because I did not know that really at that point, I should just ban these people outright. Because really, they were not interested in a constructive conversation about Peace Island or anything. I know what they were there for. A good deal of them were there for, and we'll get into that later. But anyway.
We can see his preview on how they thought. We can see the dev's preview on how he viewed these people, and we can see from the clip right here, he viewed them as trolls. he saw them as very confrontational. He didn't realize that he was being confrontational. The reason that they were saying that, he was losing it was because of his responses and how, he was being unprofessional. And he lacks that understanding. So it's a very weird situation in that sense. I'm surprised no one's really talking about it. Maybe because it's very melodramatic in a way, but also it's pretty important to talk about considering this was 8 years and for a game that, has some AI in it. And let me be very transparent in that the dev here is taking out this AI. This is absolutely correct. Like this is provable. It's shown on his Discord. All that. The AI is getting taken out slowly but surely. Right? But it doesn't excuse that these images weren't vetted beforehand. It doesn't excuse, the confrontational responses that the dev has. And let me just say, I create things. I love art. I absolutely love video games. They are some of my core hobbies, I would say. So I understand making something that you put your entire life in, that you put in so much time and effort, and for things to go wrong. I completely understand. But this is not how you address criticism for the art that you make. It's not. This is how you drive people away. So I don't expect any more updates. The dev has essentially said that he will just ban anyone. So let's check his Discord really quick. Yeah. So whenever someone starts acting shitty, I am banning them. No more engagement with idiots. That is what the dev has to say. I'll update if this game if this drama, I suppose, has any more conflicts. I'll update if the dev sees this, I guess. But I highly doubt it. If you did come across this, thank you for watching till the end. That's very kind. I hope I didn't bore you to death. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Or not. I don't know. Depends. Bye-bye.